in the world of employment actions, some are usual, others are unusual. For example, getting terminated is an unusual event. I think there's something like 93, in the worst economies, 93% of people in the workforce will be working, to something like 96%. Healthy unemployment rate is 4% for a free market capitalist society to work. That means that at any one time, most people, the overwhelming majority of people, will be holding down jobs who want to. And terminations are very frightful because they're unusual. And I'm not talking about situations where the company isn't doing well or something changes or people get laid off. That's an entirely different event. Promotions are usual. Companies grow. People leave. People inherit new responsibilities. Those people have to be paid more. New positions are created. Therefore, there are many promotions that go on at a typical company that has anywhere from at least 50 to 100 employees. That because a promotion is a usual occurrence, winning a failure to promote case is very difficult. And think of it this way. Couldn't anyone who didn't get a promotion that the person wanted claim this was some element of discrimination? And this is what courts are faced with. And because of that, courts have to make these cases very difficult to win. Otherwise, companies simply couldn't survive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the different elements that are required in a failure to promote case. Now, with federal employees, it's a little bit different because there are some positions in which there's a step or grade progression. For example, 9, 10, 11. That means that someone starts off at a 9 and they should end up at an 11. And that's a little bit different than kinds of promotions even at the federal government in terms of very senior level type positions. So our first batch of cases, which I've had before, but they're rare, are the direct proof cases of discrimination. I once had a case a number of years ago that we settled nicely where the employee had to interview in front of a panel. A woman was selected. The employee who brought the lawsuit was a man. The employee later heard from one of the panelists that the panel specifically was looking for diversity and they wanted a woman for the job, which, by the way, diversity is not a legal reason to hire someone under Title VII. It might be a factor used at universities, but a lot of people don't know this. If someone says simply, yes, I wanted this minority person, I wanted whomever it was, a woman, this guy, that guy, a Muslim, you name it, in the name of diversity, that is absolutely not allowed under the law in employment situations. Unless the company had an affirmative action program that has to be set up in compliance with law, and that's something else. But if most people don't have that anymore, most companies don't have that anymore. So just, I wanted to hire someone because of diversity, generally speaking, is not allowed, is an absolute violation of Title VII. In the absence of that kind of case, which are most of them, you're going to need indirect or circumstantial evidence. The first thing you're going to need is you're going to have to show that you were substantially more qualified than the person who got the job. That doesn't mean you were as good as him or her. That doesn't mean you were a little better. It means you were way, way better. It means that you applied for a supervisor job in a maintenance department at the Smithsonian, and you were a carpenter, and you were doing that for 20 years, and the guy who got the job was an apprentice who had only been there for a year. See the difference? That's huge. You were substantially more qualified than the apprentice. That's it. Number two, the reason had to be discrimination, And it can't be a situation where a jury can find that there was some other reason. And a lot of people don't know this. So what they'll do is they'll say, yes, this boss, he was a real jerk and he hated me. And on cross-examination, I want you to just totally destroy this guy. Not a good strategy. You don't want to show that the boss, who was the selecting official, and the employee who didn't get the job were like oil and water, because this is not a question of fairness. This is not a question of should you have gotten the promotion. The question is the reason you didn't get the promotion motivated by a Title VII basis or by age discrimination or because of disability? So that's important. And the other thing is you want to show that there is a link to a basis of your protected group. All right, so what people will show me is a list of who has been promoted over the last 5-10 years. And if it always goes to the same group and your group is excluded, that is something. That is very important evidence that will win it for you if you were substantially more qualified than the person who got the job. These cases are actually pretty easy for me to analyze because the requirements for winning one of them is so tight.